Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh book from Valiant Wings. So this is part of the Airframe&Miniature series. Book is number 25, and what we get here is the whole publication dedicated to the famous P-47 Thunderbolt. So as you can see, it's even written that it's a complete guide to Republic's mighty juggernaut. And what I have here is the final shape of this book, which is, by the way, the biggest in this series and biggest so far from Valiant Wings, because we get here 288 pages, I think. So that's why it will be interesting to see what is actually included into such hefty publication. What is also notable is that the printing format is still the same. As you can see, it's a soft cover, which is quite thick. And this is book number 25, as I said before. We have really beautiful cover art here, and it was done by Jerry Boher. And also, as I said, we have not only 288 pages, but we also should get the 148 scale drawings, which might be handy for some model building ideas. And for me, I think it's even more precious because we recently got several interesting new toolkits from different brands, so that's why if you plan to build them in a proper detailing and with more features, then you will be definitely interested in some more sophisticated guide, and to have everything in one book is always an appreciated thing. So first of all, as I said, it's a soft cover. The book is written by Richard Franks, and here we start with the contents page. So as you can see, we get the division to the Airframe and Miniature chapters, and we have 4 chapters in each, so it's quite even division. I can see also we have the appendices and the list of the bibliography sources. So the book is full of the illustrations. There are different photographs, and I think publisher actually claims it's more than 200 photos. So as you can see, it will be the black and white, but I also expect the color photos as well. And of course, all of these shots, they are useful for some build ideas, for weathering ideas as well, because they actually show you how the aircraft was getting dirty. And as you can see, we also get here the more or less detailed history on how this aircraft was employed in the war operations, also how it evolved during the war. And now I have actually the question whether we are having the Razorback and the bubble top versions in one book, because on the box art, as you can see, or on the cover art, we have the Razorback, but it's not specified that it's dedicated only to this version, because here now you can see the bubble tops. So I guess both versions or both variants are covered. And we even have Soviet aircraft, which is quite interesting because this is not a marking which is met often. And here we start with the evolution section. So as you can see here, we get not only the black and white photos, but we also get the side profiles, and those are needed in order to understand the main differences between these versions. And as you can see, they are handily placed side by side, so that's why it will be easy to compare them. So it's always appreciated that Valiant Wings is trying to actually explain it in a bit more thorough way. And this is not the only section which will be dedicated to this. You will see another one later in this book. And now we are moving to the camouflage and markings. It's chapter number 4, and here actually we meet the first color photos. This is very useful thing, but color markings also include the side profiles. So these are not the classic marking guides, if we can say it this way, but I think they are very useful if you are searching for something unusual, or you would like to be, let's say, more confident in the marking you are planning to copy. Here you will get the better description of where this marking was actually applied, how this aircraft was employed, and who was flying on it. Even though the short history note is not that, I would say, detailed, but still it will give you the necessary info. And as you can see, there are a lot of unusual markings. I'm not even mentioning the nose arts. As you can see, there is a separate section about this. So it's a notable feature of this aircraft, and it would be strange to choose some different marking without this. But maybe some others will be happy to go this way. We also have the stenciling guide for this aircraft, which is also useful. Captured aircraft are also covered here. And again, this is something what I myself see for the first time. Maybe you have some experience with this aircraft, so feel free to write in the comment section. And here we continue with the kits for this aircraft. So, surprisingly, this aircraft is not that, I would say, widespread among the scale model manufacturers. So, we all know that the main offering in 148 scale up to this year or last year, it was Tamiya. In the 172nd scale, it was the same story, even though the kit itself was not exactly new. Well, now the situation has changed because we get the mini art, we also get the door wings, and both kits are quite nicely detailed, so you can get a very good result out of the box, and you also get several versions of the packaging, so you can check it. You can check the review of the plastic kit on the same YouTube channel which you are watching right now, and I have to say that it's a great improvement over the Tamiya kit. And I was actually shooting the comparison of the plastic between those two, so it's also an interesting thing to watch, and I really recommend to check it out if you're not sure which one to choose. So here we continue with the assembly. So as you can see, there are several build projects included, which are covering model kits in different scales, because here we have 172nd scale Tamiya, but next we see the door wings in 148 scale, and the whole layout or the style of the article, as you can notice, is very detailed. And what is even more important is that we get the mini art kit here as well, so you can see how it goes together, how more features are there out of the box in comparison with Tamiya, because Tamiya is more benefiting from the various aftermarket, but here you get all of this stuff out of the box. And of course we get the 132nd scale, I think, offering from Trumpeter, and as you can see, it's also quite nicely detailed for a large scale aircraft. So here is another section which I was talking about. As you can see, it's named as a building a collection, and that's exactly the version where you have detailed explanations of what was changed in comparison with the previous types. As you can see, there are even the double propellers, contra-rotating propellers were used on this aircraft. I guess it was just some experimental version, but still quite an interesting part of the history. And as you can see, we also get the various loadout schemes, how they were installed on this aircraft. Of course, the canopy type has changed with the time. And here we continue with more parts being changed in terms of the landing gear, canopy, and even the winter version was there. So you will see all of this in this book. And we are already on the page 208. What is coming is very interesting part. It's the so-called in detail chapter, and as you can see, this whole, for example, part of the chapter is dedicated to the cockpit, so you get detailed photos of the cockpit, drawings of the cockpit, and also some explanations on how these elements were used, what is what, and maybe also it will be useful for some weathering ideas. As you can see, the cockpits were different from versions to versions, so it's also quite important thing that it is included here. We even have this special curtains which were on the canopy, and also how the canopy was designed itself. Here we have also some parts for the engine bay, and next we continue with the turbo supercharging system as it's written here. So it's also quite an interesting part of this aircraft, which is actually taking the central part in the fuselage. Next we also have the hydraulic system, oil system, various details and features of the wings. And here we continue with the undercarriage. Here you can see also the armament or weapons, all of this external equipment, radio and radar. And here we continue with the kits list. So this one might be handy in case you don't know what to choose. So here you have quite extensive list of the kits, accessories, and masks as it's written here. And what is important is that the decals are separated into another section. And here we continue with several pages of those decals, which is kind of telling of how many options you can get for this aircraft. We also have the bibliography released, and here we have the 148 scale drawings, which are, by the way, bound into the book, so you won't be able to lose them, but they might be handy for some panel lines and riveting on your aircraft, especially if you're dealing with Tamiya plastic. And here we have the end of this book, so it's 288 pages indeed. indeed. And here we have also the price tag. It's 29.95 British pounds. So for such a publication, I think it's more than reasonable price. And usually these books get sold out very quickly. So if you would like to get one for your collection, it's better to hurry up. And of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion. So what do you think about such a release from Valiant Wings? Write it here in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.